Yes, this is live with Miami's Community News, and our guest is Rabbi Zalman Gansburg. Thank you very much for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And you are the rabbi of the Palmetto Bay Chabad.
Correct.
Or is it Chabad of Palmetto Bay?
Both are correct.
Okay, yes, they are. So,
together with my wife.
yes.
Hani.
Hani, okay. You're from Italy?
Milan, Italy.
Milan. So how does this migration occurred, all right, that you wound up here, one in the United States, and two, you wind up down the street from here?
So I got married in New York, and there is a program which is called a Kollel. Kollel is a 2-year program, but people usually learn couples after the wedding. Usually some people do it for 1 year, some people maximum for 2 years. And they open a Kollel, a learning program, a very intense program.
Is that for recently married couples? Or
Yeah, and only for married couple.
Okay, but
Right, the day after your wedding, you go for a year and you study.
Really?
Yeah.
And how often do you go?
No, for 1 year.
What do you mean 1 year?
So
you go sleep away for a year?
No,
over
so
there?
you go from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. and you study. It's called a Kollel, and usually
Danny, did you hear that? All day long.
all day long.
How many days a week?
6 days a week. And
Wow.
the reason people do it is to have a strong foundation for life. So you start their life with learning of Torah. So usually the Kollel, the institution pays you a little bit, and your parents help you, and that's how you go through the year. So I had an opportunity either to learn in Kollel in New York, or they open a new Kollel in Bell Harbor. So Bell Harbor sounds a little bit better than New York.
Yes.
So we came here and we studied for 2 years in the Kollel.
But you
the shul.
were already observant and very orthodox at that point. Do I have
Correct.
that? So you were going for this is like a graduate program then for you.
Correct. So actually,
Did you get a certificate of sorts?
I got, but we don't learn for the certificate.
Right.
As a rabbi, the day you stop learning, you stop being a rabbi.
Isn't that one of the things that we recognize, especially I've seen in the Orthodox community, it's all the time learning and
All the
publicly
time.
learning, publicly. And I see that. And I've been in many rabbis' homes, Orthodox, where all the kids, they're lined up, man. They're standing on that,
Right.
standing on the chair, going to town and learning that. And we see these kids growing up. By the way, do you have a TV in your house?
No.
Okay. Is that common?
Very common.
Very common for rabbis or Orthodox rabbis?
Orthodox.
Orthodox. And so, and we're going to get on to the rest in a few minutes, but how did that start and what keeps you in that space?
When you have a TV, today the internet is more than the TV, then you have no control what your children or even yourself could see. And we know the eyes are connected with the heart. Whatever you see, eventually you want. So we want to make sure that we only watch holy things and pure things. And that's why we don't have a TV in the house.
So TV can be entertainment and be happy.
Correct.
Or it can be the dissemination of news and the whole range, whether you believe
Right.
or don't believe. But that's that whole range. And we recognize you say, don't watch that TV. But the reality is the TV's in your pocket now. And you could just be going to your stuff. And there's a 10-second, bleep of some event that maybe you didn't want to see. But of course, you would come across that, including different types of commercials and editorials. So at what point did you know and believe inside, you say, this is going to be my life?
So I was lucky, and I am lucky. Actually, my grandfather came to Italy 70 years ago. My grandfather was sent by the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. After the war, he was sent to Milan, Italy, and then my father became a Chabad rabbi, also Milan, Italy. So I grew up with that, and I would never change my job. Today you offer me $1 million, I will not switch my job
There's an old saying
or my mission.
when you go to a lawyer, he says, you say, you just charged me, $1,000 and it only took you 10 minutes. He says, I've been practicing law for 50 years. So
Right.
it's 50 years plus 10 minutes.
Right.
So, and as far as what you do, all right, now is you're an educator, you're a student, you share, you create community. When you came to Bell Harbor, and you managed to wind up
Correct.
in Palmetto Bay. And how was that? How did you wind up from, we understand, to Milan to Bell Harbor to Palmetto Bay?
I was looking for a place, and my wife and I could both give to the community. And we met Rabbi Felix's son, Rabbi Mendy Felix, in Bell Harbor. and they told me there's our beautiful town, village, or city, whatever you want to call it, Palmetto Bay. They have no Chabad. Are you ready? I came to Palmetto Bay. I drove down to Old Cutler. I said, this is my place. I didn't know anyone. I didn't have any funding. We took a loan, and we just moved. No funding, nothing.
Wow.
We took a loan, and 17 years ago, and we just moved to the community.
How many years?
17.
17, 17.
2008.
Okay. So we recognize that, at least in South Florida, that the popularity of Chabad, especially the South End, has been enormous. The growth has been phenomenal. I understand the 50 years before, but for us here in let's say, Miami Beach or Aventura South, the popularization of Chabad has occurred. 20 years ago when Chabad was trying to expand in Hollywood and they sued the city and they got the zoning and they got a bunch of money and they got all this. Now no one wants to fight Chabad. We see that, all right? And there was a city down south, just south of you. There was a rumor that they were going to fight it. No, it wasn't that at all. It was misinterpreted.
Every Chabad should be blessed to live in a city like Palmetto Bay. The relationship that we have with the village, I don't think you could find in any other place. We do so many programs together. Hanukkah we're doing together. Now we're doing Tu B'Shvat.
Let's go back to, on Hanukkah you did it at City Hall.
City Hall.
And you sent invitations to whoever wanted to attend.
Correct.
How many people showed up?
200.
200 people. That's like crazy number, all right?
That's when we work together.
Yes. Did you ever have any question about you were gonna have a lot of people there? Were you a little hesitant?
People always ask, do we have security? And say the police is right next door. You couldn't have a better security than that. But beside that, people just come.
So where do the Chabad rabbis get the concept of promotion and the events they want to promote? Where does that come from?
The needs. When you move to a community, you don't even know yet what are the needs of the community. So I remember there was a great Rabbi Label Wolf from Australia, is a great Kabbalist and speaker, and he came and spoke to us after 3 years that we were here. He said, it will take you 5 years for you to realize what are the needs of the community. So as you go, and the needs may change. 1 year the community may need one specific program, another year another program. Whatever the needs of the community, that's what we serve.
So there is a Chabad.org, I think, right? It's a website and people work for Chabad. Do the rabbis around the country refer to them to get information to share, or is that for the most part just generated from the local Chabad?
On a personal level, when someone wants a rabbi, they come to me. But when they go to Chabad.org, it's just to read articles.
Got it. Okay, so that's
more articles.
They don't provide support for the local.
Correct.
So you just said we're moving to Palmetto Bay. Come on, sweetheart. Or was it the other way around? All right?
Well, the other way around.
And you go, this looks like a good place. When you went from Bal Harbour down to Palmetto Bay, was there an exact moment where you went, okay, this is it? Was it this awareness, or did you have to think about it a long time?
So when I moved in, I liked it because it's very, very defined. Palmetto Bay, 184 to 136, it has its own village, and it feels like community. The parks added a lot. It's a very, very nice place.
Parks, Palmetto Bay. We need more parks.
We need more parks. And the diversity of the community, young and old, so I really liked it. At the beginning, you're excited and you have a vision. Along the way, we're human, and there are those hard days, and sometimes you doubt yourself, and then you speak to your spouse, you speak to friends, and then you go back to it, or you take a little walk and a little jog, and then you continue working.
Parks serve a good place.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm going to. By the time I get done, it's going to be solved.
On my website, we have Walk with the Rabbi. So
Is that right?
So you're always welcome at least once a week. I walk with someone. 2 weeks ago, I walked with our vice mayor in the park in Palmetto Bay, and I'm always
Vice Mayor Mark Merwitzer.
Yeah. And
we need parks, Mark. I'm vice mayor.
So
tell us about some events that are coming up.
So this Sunday we're going to have the Tu B'Shvat. Tu B'Shvat is the Holiday of Trees. We're going to have at Ludovici Park, and every year we plant a new tree, and we do it together with the village of Palmetto Bay, and it's an amazing, amazing event. We're going to have plant at discount price. We're going to have acai bowl and a lot of fruits. If you want to go on a raw food diet, this is the perfect day to start.
Okay.
And our next event is going to be on February 16. We have Mr. Joseph Alexander. He's 102 years old, Holocaust survivor. He survived 12 concentration camps, and is coming from Los Angeles, especially to talk to the community in Palmetto Bay. It's going to be 7 o'clock, Sunday, December 16th.
Where's that going to be?
At Venture X.
Where's that?
On 174 on US 1.
Okay.
But you have to reserve. So if you go Jewish Palmetto Bay /Holocaust speaker, you could reserve.
And why did you reach out to him?
Why? Because every year, unfortunately, I read the news and I see more and more Holocaust survivors are leaving this world, are dying, and it's important to teach the story to the future generation.
So when you listen to these stories from these people that are at least 95, I think.
He's 102.
Yeah. What does it do to you inside?
We have to remember that anti-Semitism was always here, it's here, and will always be here. And we cannot fool ourselves. I think the American Jews, before October 7, people thought everything is fine, everything is nice and dandy, and we forget. So it's important to know it's there, and we have to educate ourselves and our youth and the community.
So my father used to have a radio show 50 years ago on WEDR, and it was called the Gospel Hour, that all his customers, and he was a DJ, if you will, were black. So when I was a child, he took me to the marches in St. Augustine and Jacksonville. And so there I am, 5th grade or 6th grade. We're standing on the sidewalks, and there's National Guard keeping the white people from beating up the blacks that were in the street. And so I said to myself, to my dad, what did those people, the blacks, do to these people that they hate them so much?
Right. Today we don't have it anymore, thank God.
Okay, so skip ahead 50 years. When the Ukrainian war broke out, I was interviewing a rabbi who was in the IDF. And I said, Rabbi, I identify myself as a Ukrainian Jew. My grandfather was from there, and the name was Mendelovich. So my question is, what did the Jews ever do to deserve what just happened? All right. So I asked the same question, all right, of you. What did the Jews do that caused generations after generation of haters?
So haters, we're always going to have people hate us. It says in the Torah that when God gave the Torah at Sinai, at the same time, he gave some hatreds in the world toward the Jews. So if someone thinks that will be a world when we will have no anti-Semitism, that will happen only when Messiah will come. So we're always going to have people hate us. However, it could be in a very, very increased way, in manner like right now, all over social media, and it's you feel it, or it's more quiet. And the stronger we are with our Jewish identity, and the more proud we are as Jews, the less anti-Semitism we will experience.
I'm going to repeat the story that Rabbi Yossi Harlig told me. He was leaving his house going to Chabad of Kendall. Somebody rolled down their windows and screamed, "Go back to the gas chambers." This is 2024. And it's like, I go, "What did you do?" He says, "Michael, we just get used to it. That the people are out there, spewing that." So I guess part of the question is, how do we as humans learn how to deal with that so we don't get upset in the sense that it buries you, that so many people don't like you because of some religion or some color or some faith that you have. So what is it that somebody could do who really gets hurt every time emotionally, that they see the anti-Semitism and the violence that sometimes goes along with that?
So thank God, personally in Palmetto Bay, I didn't experience. It's a beautiful town, and hopefully
the mayor's going to keep it all away.
Yeah, it's always going to continue. But I think the more connected you are with your own heritage, the more Torah you learn, the more mitzvahs you do. So the more secure you feel about yourself, the less it affects you. Those comments. I grew up in Italy. I learned in France. I learned in England, and all over Europe, many times I experienced anti-Semitism, and many of those times I just smiled back to them, waved, and moved on. I didn't make a big deal of it. So I think the more you're proud of your Judaism, you just move on. Of course, you have to have guards, and you have to protection and security and all that. But from a general perspective, the more we're comfortable with our own Judaism, the better it is.
Okay. So, do we have any other events before we move on to the next thing?
Those are the two events which will happen the next
Is this
2
the
weeks.
calendar?
And this is a calendar for you to see all events throughout the
okay.
year.
Okay.
Make sure.
Where are we? Okay. Chabad of Palmetto Bay.
Bay.
Got your own calendar and pictures of you and your lovely family. Oh my goodness! So we can stay in tune. All right.
Yeah.
So, one of the things I'm very curious about: what causes people to continue to go to your Chabad, and what causes people to want to be in organizations, as we were talking about, a tennis club, a running club, a religious club. The other day I was with somebody who said, Michael, as a matter of fact, it was at yours. I'm going there because of the activities they have for women. I'm not interested in the religious aspect of it, but the other part, in being around women that are Jewish, it's perfect. So I completely forgot my point. So what causes people to want to go back after they've been to your Chabad a couple times?
So people are yearning for connection. And when I meet a person, Jews or non-Jews, I tell them, if you live in Palmetto Bay, I'm responsible for you, for your spiritual well-being. If you're Jewish, I want you to be the best Jew that you are. And if you're Gentile, I want you to be the best Gentile that you are. And at least 1/3 of our supporters are not Jewish, are people in Palmetto Bay that they consider me the rabbi, they call me for questions, or Hani, and they come to us, to classes or one-on-one. And the Jewish people, they either come for the minyan, we have a Hebrew school, challah bakes, and Torah classes. Each one comes for their own spiritual connection, but everyone wants a spiritual connection. Or needs a spiritual connection.
And on whatever level it might be, people attend those things. I was at a funeral. The minister lady said, "We're gonna have a moment of silent meditation. Join us on whatever level you would like."
Correct.
Perfect. You're invited back.
Correct.
And I think that it's awfully bold for a leader to go, no, you got to be in 100% or else you're not in at all. But we can't, all right? Because we're all in different places. We got all this stuff that's surrounding us, right? So people are yearning for a connection.
And according to their level, I had one of our main supporters now. It took 8 years for him to come to us. It means I invited him, I came to the office, I left a card, and then I invited for Shabbos, he didn't reply to me, and 8 years later he replied. And then some people come, then they don't come. Either some people come every week, every month. Some people come and then they show up. They don't show up for 6 months, a year, and then they come back. Truthfully, at the beginning, it was hard for me. People go according to their moods and emotions. But now I'm used to. When a person comes and says, "Come whenever you want," you're always welcome.
Christmas time, the priest is up doing his routine, and they do a prayer. And at the end, he says, "Okay, see you all at Easter." But people participate on whatever level they're okay with.
Correct.
And I think that my experience with Chabad's plural is that that's the feeling that I get. Wherever you are, that's fine.
Right. Some people are prayers. Some people like to come to pray. They come to shul for prayers. Some people, they like to learn. Some people, they like to give charity. Right. Some people, they like to put tefillin. Each one according to their level.
Some people like to walk around the park.
Some people like to walk around the park. Some people, they just want a Friday night meal. The connection for Shabbos.
So here's one of the things I've seen. There's a new Chabad for Miller, no relationship, and I've chatted with him a few times. And in the 6 months he's been here, he's already finding his place. And I said, I don't know if there are any Jews out there, all right, except for us.
Right.
So my wife is very happy for me to say that. But still, like you took a chance and you went to a new place, and you had faith enough that you could make that work. So you've achieved a certain level of success in connecting the people to them to you. What drives you, and what does Chabad of Palmetto Bay look like in a couple of years?
In a couple of years? Yes, we'll have a nice shul, a nice Chabad house, a nice building, but that's not the goal. The goal is that we're going to impact more people. And you're saying about the rabbi that just moved next to you. When someone builds a company, becomes, as it go higher, he doesn't do the cold call, he doesn't do knock on the door. Chabad, even when I'm going to have the big building, I'm still going to knock on doors. and I still do it today, and I'll do it in 20 years from now. And there's a beauty of it. Every time you knock on a door, someone could say, Rabbi, no, and there's some very rarely will slam the door. Someone else, oh, wow, I didn't know there's a Chabad here. And, I'm always on the go.
When you talk with people, do they ever say, what is Chabad?
Majority of people know by now. Maybe 15, 20 years ago, they didn't know, but today, majority of people know.
And that's the kind of progress, and I know it's 50 years or 100 years
Right.
plus the last 10 or 15 years. But it's so popularized. I'm very happy for that cause of sharing and getting people to find a connection.
People are yearning for a connection. People look happy the outside, and people are yearning for connection. And usually, the more people are on social media, the more connection they're looking for.
We know the story. How many people like me? How many people saw it?
Yeah.
Do they, how's my picture? How do I look? Blah, blah, blah. Did I do good? So we hear that all day long. And because we take these videos and we distribute it in a lot of places, so we get a lot of feedback. We're fortunate that so far we haven't had any real negative feedback on it, and any religious politics always vicious.
Right.
But there's something where I suggest there's this aura around religious people that people, to me, they sort of tone it down. But yet the door is open for people to walk up to you and start sharing with them.
Right.
You have some people that just go over to you and they just open up, and it's just like that you've known them for 50 years.
It happens all the time. One of the things that I don't like to do is shopping. And thank God for Instant Cart and Uber Eats and all that. But once in a while, my wife, forget for Shabbos, go to Publix for a little oil or some garlic or something, kosher bottle of wine. And the way she tells me, she convinced me to go. She said, you might meet somebody. Go. 90% of the time. Rabbi, I have a question for you. Oh, Rabbi, 90%. And then I come back home. Oh, you see? You went for a reason.
I just wanted to go get.
So every time I go outside, and during the state, when I walk, I meet people. Many of our members, I met them walking during the state.
So you have children at some point, they'll be working someplace. In your heart of hearts, if what they want is wonderful for you, what might be some of those things that if you're lucky, they're going to pick something that's going to be wonderful to do, and if it's something that you like, be a celebration. What are some of those things?
Something that is not only about themselves and not only about their family, but also about the community. Whatever they do involves community, then I'll be happy. Because I know a person cannot be happy if he only takes care of himself and of his family. If a person takes care of his community, eventually will come back. As a rabbi, I meet people in the hospital, in old age home, and I see people that didn't have community, they are alone. Okay. Even people that have the most beautiful families, sometimes family cannot be there for you. The son lives in New York, the daughter lives somewhere else, and the community, it's there. If you build it, if you made the connection, if you made the investment, the community will be there for you.
We originally said 25 minutes, but we're going to go 5 more minutes, Danny. All right. So one of the things that's happened here, as we understand our role in improving people's lives, we're doing lots more not-for-profits. It's common for us to have women that have lost their children and where they want to share the agony and things to do to make that better, and how to make sure that whether it's from a disease or an accident, and we see people creating not-for-profits so that awareness can keep up. We also have around 35% of what we do here is directly related to health and or mental health. We know that there's always been an issue with mental health, and Simone Biles and Michael Phelps help break that mold and say, it's okay. Now there's even a mental health day.
Right.
And it's like wonderful. 25 years ago, oh, no, you have to be strong. You can get more attention with a broken arm than you would from a broken heart. So what is it that you can do to help people that are having really emotional issues, to help them seek the attention and the care that they might need?
So 50% of the work that I do is mental health. People need a connection. People need to talk to someone. And sometimes just to get your mind clear that you're making the right decision. When I came here 17 years ago, I thought I could do everything. And one day a lady a member of the community told me, Rabbi, since I met you, I realized I don't need my therapist anymore. And a few weeks later, I realized I took it as a compliment, was a very big mistake. So now I know when I talk to someone, if I have a meeting with them, if it's marriage counseling or one-to-one counseling, if it's a very, very deep meeting, what I told them at the beginning, if I have to meet with you more than 3 times a year, I'm not the right person. I'm good for a tune-up.
Right.
A tune-up, I'm there, Hani and I do good for tune-ups. But more than that, you need to go to a professional. But on a lighter note, people need a connection. When people feel they have someone to talk to, their mental health is much stronger. And thank God, since I'm in Miami, I was able to save 2 people from committing suicide a few hours before, one in Bell Harbor and one in Palmetto Bay. And just by being genuine and being open and asking how you're doing and having a connection with a person.
Yes.
I love connecting with people every time when I go to an event, even when I go to the rabbis' big event in New York, the 5,000 rabbis, I always make
They
sure.
all look the same.
They all look the same, but I always make sure to sit at a table with someone that I don't know, because I love connecting with people.
So I know there have been people that have helped you along your way, perhaps mentors. And what I'd like you to just start thinking about a couple of people that you would like to thank today. You want to mention by name, that would be great. If they passed, you want to mention by name, that would be great. So what I'd like you to do is look into the blue camera right over there and talk to them right here. Look at this camera right here.
Oh, yeah. So my biggest mentor was, is, and will be my dear wife, Hani, that without her, I wouldn't be able to be here today and continue doing what I'm doing, knocking on doors, dealing with people, even when I come back someday drained from different meetings. She's always there for me, giving my space and supporting me, and we're working together as a team. So I thank God for giving me this mentor and this partner in my life. Thank you, Hani.
Wonderful. Thank you. And we're going to put up your website address. What's the address?
JewishPalmettoBay.org.
There it is, right there. Magic.
And our
Thank
number,
you, Danny.
our number is a very easy number to remember.
Okay, shoot.
Our office number, 305
Yes.
770, 770.
Oh, yes, I was there one time.
Yeah. And then 1818. Hi.
Got
So
it.
305. It took me 5 years. I love the number. And I called again, 18 until I got it. It's 305 770 1818.
And for the people that are in they understand
So
it.
it's easy to remember.
Rabbi, thank you so much for being here. I
My
appreciate
pleasure.
it. Keep doing the
Thank
great
you.
work we're doing.
Thank
We're
you.
going to look at the red camera. Folks, thanks for joining us. Remember, take care of yourself.